if you made a mistake, there's no one there to tell you you made a mistake. You fall into a queue of incomplete applications and you wait and wait and wait to hear what's going on.
Hello, fellow administrators. It's time to get connected to Administrator Nation podcast. I am your host, Josh Madera, and today we're going to be talking about something that's in every administrator's head, which is PPP loans. So many questions, so many information that we need to have. And today we're going to be talking with an expert about this. She's the Senior Vice President and Branch Manager for the downtown San Diego office of CalPrivate Bank. And this episode particularly is really special for me because this is a person and this is a human being that I personally admire a lot. I've had a chance to meet her outside of a work environment, and it's just someone who I admired and I trust, and I am really grateful and happy that she is here with us today. Welcome to the podcast, Becky Mendoza.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you for that kind introduction. I am delighted to share a little bit of what I know and what I worked on the last year or so. I hope that your audience can find valuable information so that they can find me as a valuable resource on their daily jobs. So thank you for that.
No, I know that's going to be the case. I know you're all about helping others. So I'm positive that's what's going to be the outcome of this episode today. Becky, why don't we start first by if you could share with us a little bit of your background and how you got started in all of this?
Yes, thank you. I have been in banking for over 25 years. I started during college, my first year of college. I started in banking, and I started as a teller and quickly moved up to the new accounts arena, and then I got the opportunity to oversee operations. And then by the time I was done with college, I had a little bit of more knowledge in accounting. And so I started dabbling into loans and creating relationships. So over my tenure in banking, I've done every sector of the bank. I've done operations, new accounts, business development. And today I am managing a team here in the downtown San Diego office. And I do a little bit of everything, but my niche today, and it has been for the last 10 years, has been in the legal community, helping the legal community conduct business in a manner that is valuable to them, where I can be a resource to them. And so I am very happy to be able to provide the services for the little community amongst others. I do have other clients in real estate. We do commercial lending. So very knowledgeable on different areas of the bank.
That's great. That's the reason that we thought about you first when we wanted to talk about this subject. And thank you for accepting our invitation, Becky. Becky, so why don't we start by answering one of the first questions, which is, how does the Paycheck Protection Program work?
The payroll protection plan. So PPP works. There's two different areas of PPP. There's, as long as you have employees or wage earners, you can apply for a PPP loan. That's one area. It would give you 2.5 months of payroll to help you keep those employees on your list of and paying them a salary. So PPP helped many businesses of all sorts. It doesn't have to be in any specific area. All businesses can apply for PPP.
Okay. And
there is the other side of PPP where sole proprietors can apply using their Schedule C. There's a different formula for that. As a matter of fact, today that formula has changed. We're not aware of how those calculations are going to come about, but the SBA has changed the guidance for banks to follow multiple times. And so, but in a nutshell, the PPP helps companies, businesses to keep their employees on their payroll salary.
Is there a minimum number or a maximum number of employees that you need to have as a company?
So right now for the second round, no more than 300 employees. Um, Today's announcement, applications cannot be submitted for companies that have more than 20 employees for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, the smaller businesses will have the opportunity to submit their applications and have first dibs at the money pool that is still available. There's plenty of money available still.
Okay, okay, that's pretty good. So, if there's any companies out there that have not done it for whatever reason, there's still time to do it.
Yes, so what happened is that during the first round, there was a lot of misinformation as to who can apply for this. If you had a felony or misdemeanor or any type of records, criminal records, you couldn't apply. If you were defaulted on a student loan, you couldn't apply. So if you were a partner on a K-1 schedule, you couldn't apply. So a lot of businesses missed out because there was a way to apply, it was just different. And so some of those businesses are applying during the second round for the first round. And there's some differences between the two of them.
Okay, okay. I know we're going to talk about that later on, the difference between both of them. But you also mentioned how to apply. I know, so our listeners mostly are administrators of companies, office managers, and they have multiple things they do within the company. What would you consider for them? What would be a good way for them to apply if they haven't done it yet?
Okay, so different banks, during the first round, banks open up portals so that people can apply directly. My bank, CalPrivate Bank, we did everything manually. So we took an actual paper application and completed the application alongside with our clients, submitted the payroll, which was at the time was the D9 quarterly reports for payroll, and we calculated the numbers for them and we helped them through the process. It was a lot of work on our end because we were doing a lot of the hand holding, but we love doing that. That's what we do. And the second time around, the SBA had changed some guidance. And so we now have a portal for our clients to log in and input their application, upload some documents, payroll documents, a copy of their driver's license, and they're done. Then it falls in our hands. But through that process, we have a lot of clients that were not either computer savvy or as you mentioned, the administrators or the office managers had a lot of things on their hands and they didn't have time to go into the system and figure it out. So at that point, they will call me and we will go through it together step by step. We fill out the application, which what would have taken them maybe an hour or two took them 15 minutes tops. I asked them, send me, don't even upload any of the information, send it to me. I will upload it for you. So there was a lot of hand holding during the second phase of this PPP, but that's my bank. Other banks was just a portal, right?
That's
And so there's a big difference with that. So you apply through the portal, you submit your application, you attest to the different questions of the SBA, and you're done. Then I do a little bit of matching the numbers, make sure that the numbers match what you gave me, compile the reports, and upload them to the SBA site.
Okay, two things on that point, Becky, really quick. One is yes, it's important to clarify because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people who are listening are like, "What? My bank like doesn't do that? Like, what? Who is this?" Um, um, your service is really high level, personalized service, so it's important to say that because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are asking why what does she mean by that, because everyone's like pretty much on their own. A lot of people are just going and filling out the form, and it's kind of hard for some people. And the other thing that I wanted to ask you, Becky, is what are the challenges or the risk for people filling it out and maybe they're not sure about what they're doing? What has been the consequence of that?
Thank you for asking that. Yes, our bank is a boutique style of banking, very high touch, um, open communication with our clients. They have us on their cell phones. They call us at every hour. During PPP, we were working late hours, Saturday, Sunday, so they always had access to us. And so I think that's what made the difference of how smooth our process went. But the risk of going on your own and completing the application is that if you made a mistake, there's no one there to tell you you made a mistake. You fall into a queue of incomplete applications and you wait and wait and wait to hear what's going on. I had a lot of clients that started the process at another bank, and 5 days went by, 10 days went by, they never heard anything. So then they started the process with me. And I would ask, you can only apply at one bank. So
Right.
please let me know if you got approved there. And often they would say, I don't even know if I got approved. I can't talk to anyone. Everything is online. I go to the
Yes.
bank and the bankers there, they direct me back to the online portal because they have no information. With us, I could always find out where you were in the queue, how far you are. The first round, we approved people within 3 days, 4 days maximum. It was a very fast, because we handled it all. We saw it through. The second round, it's been a little bit more scrutiny. During the SBA will review all applications. So it would take anywhere from 5 to 10 business days, which still is very quick process. So, but we would know where it was in the process. We would know if they're reviewing it. From this point, they usually take 2 more days. Then let's wait 2 days. If it took 1 day, then the next day I will call them and say, here, this is where you are in the queue. You're 2 days from funding or closing. The steps that follow, we would tell them. So if there's a big difference with the way you handle the application and how you're being helped.
Yes. Yes. Becky, and what would you say? What would you say is the difference about the second draw of the PP loan and the first one?
Okay, so for the first round, all you had to show or give us was a quarter of payroll records, and we would base the amount on that quarter. You didn't have to testify to anything else. You didn't have to show proof of loss of income or anything. So if you didn't apply for the first round, you could still do it. And all you have to do is give your quarterly reports for payroll, and we will calculate the amount for you based on the formula that the SBA has, which is your annual payroll divided by 12 times 2.5. That's the amount of the loan or the PPP funds. For the second round, in order to qualify, you needed to prove, you needed to demonstrate that at least 25% reduction in gross receipts in the first, second, or third quarter of 2020 relative to the same quarter of the previous year. So, say you use second quarter of 2019, you need to compare it to the second quarter of 2020. And you would have had to show a 25% reduction of gross revenue from 2019 to 2020. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that is the number one criteria for the second round. Second is that if you use the funds the way that it was intended to use, which was for payroll the first time around, payroll and it was payroll and a little bit of overhead. So if you use the funds correctly, you could apply for the second round. But if you didn't use all the funds we gave you in the first round for payroll and overhead, you didn't qualify for the second one. We had clients that took the money from the first round and maybe invested it in another business, or maybe use it for their own purposes, whatever it was that they used it for. They didn't hire those employees back. They did not use it for payroll. So when the time came for forgiveness, they couldn't show proof of payroll records, because you have to show what was filed for your quarterly payroll reports. The amount or a portion of that amount could not be forgiven. And then they end up with the loan to the bank. Right. Or to the SBA, actually.
And they don't qualify for the second one.
They wouldn't qualify for the second one if they didn't use at least 60% of that money given to them for payroll.
Got it. Okay. And I also heard does the 2.5% is that for any industry? I think for the food industry it's 3.5. Does
Exactly.
are there any other changes besides that, Mickey?
Basically, that was the biggest thing. The food industry or hotels, the industry as well, they got 3.5%, so a little bit more
Okay.
than the normal business.
Becky, and for the people who did not give the forgiveness and they're going to have to pay for that loan, what are the terms of the loan?
So it will be 1% for 2 years, which is not a bad deal. It's 1%. It's unheard of.
Yes.
But it depends on the amount. If your business was already having an issue, generating income, if you took a $50,000 loan and you owe 25, that's going to be a pretty steep payment, even at 1%
Yes.
for the month, because you're not generating an income, and you could be in a lot of trouble because it is a government loan, and so you want to make sure that you pay for that as quickly as you can. And if you have there's a lot of clients that had multiple businesses and they applied for PPPs on those multiple businesses. That's fine. That's allowed. But if you're going to get money from those, pay off this one. You don't want to be in debt with the government because it could prohibit you from applying for more programs that might come in the future.
Okay, great point, Becky. So we already know how to apply and the things they're going to consider, and we got the loan. Um, Now let's go into one of the main topics for a lot of people, which is okay. How do I apply for the forgiveness
Okay.
and prepare for
So
it?
you need to prepare for it. The first round, in order to obtain forgiveness, you needed to show that you use those funds for payroll and 60/40 for payroll and for overhead. So you would need to prepare yourself with P&L statements, which is your profit and loss. Your tax returns are being asked for the second round as well. Um, and obviously your payroll records. So those three, you need to make sure that you have them ready. We don't know what is going to be asked of the banks to request from clients just yet for the second round, because we're not there yet. But basing our information on the first round, make sure you have so if you let's say you use 80% of what we gave you for payroll and 20% for overhead. Payroll records are easy. You have them because your payroll company gives them to you, right? But then the other 20%, you need to show how you spent it. So if you paid for your monthly lease, have copies of those lease payments, or a copy of that check that you used that. If you used it for insurance, your employee contributions for insurance costs, make sure you have records of invoices or payments that you use that for those purposes. That's very important to have that.
Okay. Becky, is it true? I heard on news. I'm not sure. So, is it correct that 40% of the loan can be utilized this second round for related things to software, technology, cloud services, cloud
Yes.
applications?
I'm going to have to read this to you because I want to make sure that everybody has all the information. This is strictly from the SBA. So, so the 40% that can be used for cover cost, which is extended cost, is for, it says here, clarifies that other employee provided group insurance benefits are included in your payroll cost. So insurance benefits are included, such as life, disability, vision, dental, those types of those insurance benefits. Payments for any software, cloud, computing, and other human resources accounting needs. Covered property damages, so costs related to property damage due to public disturbances. We have those, especially in the downtown area and businesses. And so disturbances that occurred during 2020 that are not covered by insurance, you can use payroll PPP money to cover for those. Cover supplier costs, expenditures to a supplier pursuant to a contract, purchase order, or order of goods in effect prior to taking out the loan that are essential for your day-to-day business operations. The last one is cover worker protection expenditures. So that means personal protective equipment, masks, shields, gloves, cleaning supplies. All of that is also covered under the PPP. So you could use 40% of what we gave you for that. But
Wow. Okay.
remember, show proof, save your receipts, save your invoices. All of that, you're going to need to show proof that you spent that 40% on these items.
Great, great. Thank you for sharing. I think that's really important, relevant information. That reminds me and brings me to a point. This is the first episode where we have our sponsor helping out and making all this possible, and it's actually a technology company, IT. So just want to say thank you to Enchera Cloud for sponsoring this episode, and they can do all that for you as a law firm, phones, cloud, and much more. So just wanted to take the opportunity to thank our sponsors. Becky, one of the questions that I've been saving for you, and this is directly related to our audience, to our administrators. We know they wear different hats. They do a lot of different things for the company. And have you seen them run into any challenges, either to get approved for the loan or for the forgiveness? Anything, any advice that you want to give directly for them?
Yes. So thank you for asking that. That's very important because I've seen a lot of frustrations with the administrators, the office managers in regards to, okay, I'm waiting on their bosses or the partners or whomever to give me their information. And so what I have been able to do for them is like, okay, go ahead and complete the application. I will then send them an email directly to them, saying this is what I need. I want to be confidential about your personal financials or whatever, so that you're like out of the loop and not so much like, oh, she's not doing her job or he's not doing his job. Another thing that I think that's important for the administrators to know is that you don't have to spend a lot of money figuring it out. Give us a call. Whether you're my client or not my client, if you have a question about PPP and I can help, give me a call. It doesn't matter. We're all in it together. This is for us to be able to give back to the community. I love sharing my knowledge with people. And there may be some times where I don't understand this formula or this clause, and especially in partnerships. Partnerships during the PPP are very complicated because there's a special formula, and the system doesn't tell you how to calculate that. Right. So I can help you, walk you through it. I can tell you which line item on your Schedule C you need to look at to input that information into the system. So it doesn't need to be that hard. There are ways for us to communicate, to work together, to be able to facilitate your job. A lot of their frustrations on the administrators also have been the fact that no one is being responsive to their needs. What we alluded to earlier, there's no one to talk to. And so they're being asked, where's my PPP? And they're like, okay, who do I talk to? I don't have access to other banks' information. I can only tell you that if you were with our bank, I would be able to tell you on a daily basis where you were and how far you were from the end, the finish line. When are you going to get? I can tell you more about like 5 days from now, you'll have money in the account because I can see the process. We know how we're working. We know our workload. So it is very important to partner up with a bank that has your best interests at heart, that is going to help you do your job and not create more stress, because this times of COVID have been very stressful for a lot of us. Some of us are working from home, or like for myself, I work in the office, I work at home at times. And so it is very stressful. It doesn't need to be. There's help for you.
Great. Becky, you touched on something that's really important. How has this process with everything that has happened in the past year have been for you?
It has been very intense. I have never worked harder in my whole entire career. I mean, I work hard. I work really hard, but it was like nonstop, so that we can meet deadlines, so that we can meet clients' expectations. And so, yes, it's been very challenging. It put a lot of things in perspective for me. I did have to reassess my work-life balance. But as I did that, I became a lot more efficient on what I do, because I now don't work on Sundays, so don't call me on Sundays. I will answer the phone, but I really won't go into a computer and try to figure out what's going on unless I really have to. I think it's of importance, But for the most part, I respect my Sundays now. So it has changed a lot of people's lives because of what we do, and not just myself. There's a team behind us in the operations and in the underwriting, in the funding department. So all departments of the bank actually touch PPP. And so it's a whole group of people, and for all banks, I'm sure. But I can only tell you for what my experience and what I do here. And as a return, as an outcome of our hard work, we have so many clients that are so grateful for what we've done. I've never received more candies and sweets and gifts, from clients, as a token of their appreciation for what we've done. We kept them afloat. We have a lot of restaurants, stay somewhat open, with outdoor dining and all that. Sole proprietorships where they thought, well, I'm it. I'm not going to make any money, so I'm not having money. Yeah, there's a way for you to have a little bit of money to help you through this process. So, yes, it's been challenging. Yes, it's been hard, very tiresome, but they're rewarding at the same time.
That's great. That's great to hear. Becky, I'm pretty sure that with everything that we've talked about, there's probably going to be something that we didn't cover or a really specific question on someone. And especially after listening on how you work and the type of person you are, I'm sure that there's people out there who want to get a hold of you. What is the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can go on directly to our CalPrivate Bank website. I think that if you ask another law firm, they might know me because I work with a lot of law firms. I do. Before the times of COVID, I used to network quite a bit. I can share the information with you. You can, provide it to your audience as well. But LinkedIn, it has been a great source of communicating with the individuals during these times. And I just wanted to add that not only during COVID does our bank have done ways of touching people's lives in different ways. We've always been very hands-on, and we've always been able to communicate or work with clients through DocuSign. Clients don't need to come to us to set up accounts. We have courier services that we call our mobile bankers that go to our clients' place of business or their homes to pick up deposits, to drop off cash, to do notary services. So there's a lot of services that the bank provides for our clients that are outside of PPP. I wanted to touch just a little bit, because that is not my area of expertise, but in SBA loans. Right now, through the second phase of PPP, the government has facilitated borrowers to ask for SBA loans. They're paying for 6 months of their interest for those loans. They're not paying any points to apply for SBA loans. So we have experts in our bank that would help you. Maybe this is the time where you're thinking of buying your own building or your own office space, or invest in another type of business. The SBA program can help you, and the government has given a lot of resources for you to be able to qualify for that product. So there's a lot of ways the bank and the government are helping clients succeed in their businesses.
That's great. Some additional bonus information for our listeners. I appreciate that, Becky. Again, I don't know how to thank you. So grateful that because I know how busy you are right now, and all the things that you have on your table and things that you need to take care of. And this time that you invested, I know how valuable it is. So I really want to say thank you, Becky. And hopefully down the road, we can do a different episode and talk about something else that's definitely going to help out administrators and companies out there. So thank you again, Becky.
It has been my pleasure. I love being a resource for all of you. Please think of me. Questions, there's no such thing as taking my time. I will make time to help you. And so I only have the same gratitude for you for allowing me the space to share what I know and what's going on right now in the PPP world.
Great. Well, thank you also to all our listeners for tuning in, either on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, social media. If you're still not part of the community of Administrator Nation, make sure to go to our website, administratornation.com, register. There's a lot of cool benefits and things that we do out there for business administrators like yourself. And stay connected and see you soon. Bye-bye.